So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live stream, my peoples, and recorded for ustream.tv and also for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. I am working in the Johanna Basford Johanna's Christmas because I wanted to finish this because obviously we're coming up to Christmas, and then after Christmas I won't want to work in it because it's not Christmas anymore. And I was inspired to buy the book because of I was working in it fairly pale, but I was inspired to buy it for my Dr. Martens hydras because they were very vibrant and I love the colours in my Animorphia. Excuse me. So in my Animorphia I had a bit of a play. And I thought, oh goodness, these colours are gorgeous. These are the Dr. Martens Liquid Hydrous Professional Watercolour. So I thought, oh, I know a book that would look gorgeous with these gorgeous teals and greens. This bauble book. And I always mean to put little tags in where I'm working and then I don't forget. Where's my little book of tags? So I'm going to put a little sticky here, and then instead of fiddling through, I know exactly where I am. So there we go, I know where I am now. So my idea is, I thought that was a little bit, I loved it, but it was an empty space, and I don't do backgrounds. So I made a bit of a swirl, and then I looked about for things that would go within this swirl and would fit in this corner. So I had to think about the centre where they would meet. I had to think about the deer's feet and also the bottom of this leaf here. And then I flick that over and sketch it on the other side. And I thought, well, I can just flick and do each corner, but when you look at it, there was a bird there that was in the way. So again, I do a couple of swirls, and then I followed Johanna's design. So if she had a curl here, I used that curl in between spaces, and then I drew that one at that side and then flipped it over and drew it on that side, and that gave me some symmetry because I do like this paper. It's a cream ivory colour, and so it looks really nice with vibrant colours. So I thought I would have a bit of a play. And I thought at first, oh, that looks really rubbish. But when you see it here, it doesn't look so bad. Oh, hi, Dorothy. Scooby. Welcome to Bunny's Designs. Hope everybody's well this morning. So I've kind of had to think about what I want to do. And it may not look perfect because my lines are wobbly and Johanna's are beautiful and straight. But when I get the paint on them, it may look okay. And if you were using markers, because these are single-sided, then you could use markers and you could correct things as you went along. So I'm hoping to do that. So I've put a few of the hydrous out, and then I've sprayed them with a very fine mist spray of water, because I don't want to water them down. I just want to make them liquid again. And then when I did it, I decided I wanted to do this dry, but we'll have a go. So I'm going to have my trusty little dipper so I can get my riggers in there. I've got my baby wipe that I'm going to twist, my damp brush. I'm going to have a drop, might start in this top corner here. I'm just going to have a quick look at what this colour was. Now, one thing I haven't got is a piece of photocopy paper. And I just dropped my feet in my blanket because it's rather nippy. And now I have to get up. That's Murphy's Law. So, trusted piece of photocopy paper. And actually that would be quite good to photocopy this and have a bit of a play. But it is good quality paper, so it does kind of behave itself quite well. My little stickies out the way. And the other thing is I can rest on it and not make a mess. So I wanted to just have a bit of a play and see what colour that was. And then I have another red here. And then I've made 2 or 3 reds as well. So I know they're magenta and acrinone something or other. I think I made this red. Yes, that's a nice red. So, oops, my hands are not working very well today. So I'll zoom in a bit and we'll have a look. Oh, thank you, Scoopy. Yes, I just thought I loved it, but I just... And then you feel guilty because you're changing it. But then I am the boss of my colour book. So if I zoom in here, because I'm gonna try and get a highlight on these little tiny buds, and then we need the sooty. Bring back sooty, and I use the back of sooty because there's some writing on him as well. And have a bit of a play. The colour. That's okay. Oopsie, can't see anything now. And if I really wanted to be, this is what I normally do. Just bear with me 2 seconds before you have a bit thick. Just put that on here. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to move this about. But I'll be working in that corner for a good few minutes. Whoopsie, few minutes. Avalanche. So let me just bring back the sooty. For some reason it likes my red nail varnish. I don't know why, but it seems to do. That's better. Now, the problem is I can't get the paintbrush near the... So you see they're not perfectly round, so I can hopefully play with them a little bit. So I'm going to try and get a little highlight on these kind of cherries. So again, I'm just stroking this colour. You don't need very much at all. Yeah, I'm not going to get a highlight. It's a little bit wetter. In fact, they look like little goose, but I'm doing them red because I feel like I want to do them red. I do want some nice vibrant colours. In fact, I'm just going to fill them in red, I think. Then we have another one there. You can feel when your brush is getting, it starts to drag, and that's when you go over the lines. So you've just got to tease that colour in. So I've got a star here. It's a bit wonky, I have to say. It's a bit of a wonky star. It's a bit of a wonky star. But I'll have like a gamboge colour. That's quite nice. I'm just dropping colour in, and you can see that's quite wet actually, that is. That's probably what it would be like on if you're using it straight from a palette. a pan palette, you get a flat colour on there, and that's it. So I like working this way in this book. It's easy. It's fairly quick as well, but it's just a nice way of working. And there's no pressure on your hands. It's all on that little bendy brush, which we quite like. So if you've got any questions, pop them in caps. Thank you for joining us. I'm not quite sure what these are, but I think I quite fancy. I think I quite fancy an unusual teal for this. So I'm going to use, because I've kind of fell in love with this the other day. Now I could go with a bigger brush, but yeah, I'll go with a bigger brush. So I'll get the swirls in. I think be better. So I could go with a. I'm working with these 3 brushes. There's a number 3, a number 1, and a 3-0. And these are what you find at model railway shows, so you probably won't find them at an art supplies. So you need a medium and a large, and you can tell that's a bit wonky. It's not as nice as Johanna's. No, this is Hydrus Wet. I sprayed them with water and I've put some more out. So that's why I'm not getting the watercolour effect, because I'm using them wet. So if you watered your oops, if I find the pan set. Oopsie. I did have everything organised and then it's all gone to mush this morning. I'll bring this little one out. I think I've got some in here. I think. I can't use these because I can't always get the lid off them. So if you were just going in here with colour, damp brush, and you made that a flat colour, that would be on your paintbrush. That's very similar to the consistency I've got. I've got flat colour. I haven't got the dry way of working. I have flat colour. Just bear with me 2 seconds. Just have to make sure that Pickles, yeah, she's fast asleep. She's got a muzzle on, so she can't start an attack at the elf. So again, because I've made a bit of a mistake here, I wonder if I can just kind of rectify that a little bit. Probably won't be able to, because I've drawn it in pencil, and that's what I was trying to get rid of. And then I've drawn round that with with my rotary isograph pen. So if you wanted to, you could possibly touch the colour again and have a darker highlight on that. And a darker highlight on that. Oh, excuse me, I must have caught somebody's. You can play like that. So you've got a little bit of a highlight on it. Then we'll do this one. So this is a quicker way of working, but this is a bit more intricate, so that's where the time is going to be. You can't just chuck colour down. And it's always easier to work the way of the curve that's more natural for your wrist, because otherwise you've got a tendency to go out of the lines. Now there's going to be some mistakes at this side now, because my curves are a bit wonky. So has anybody got any questions? Oopsie. And again, this is quite wonky, is this? It's not neat, really. When you're doing curves and things, you've got to do them in a sweeping motion, because if you stop and kind of think about it, your line is normally kinked like there. But when you're doing your own design, that's quite easy, because you know you're going to follow your own working. But when you're working with somebody else's, it's a bit more difficult. And you'll notice that mine are a slightly different shape, which is probably going to show. It's probably going to show. So again, I can go back in there with some ink, and I can just put a little bit there. And there. Probably do this with a smaller brush, I think. And then if I can just stroke. Just a drop there. Just rescue that corner. Oops, I just rescued that corner. And then just drag that down there very carefully. Thanks, Suzanne. Now, I'm not sure, it might do. We'll have to give it a whirl. I'm just going to concentrate on the swirls, I think. I should have gone to a smaller brush, really. And again, I've just got a bit of a kink on that one. So, see if I can just make that a little bit better. And you can tell when your brush is getting dry. And again, just on that bit there, it's just straightening out a little bit. So it's just got a bit of a highlight. Oh, thanks, Scooby. Thank you. Now, really, I need to move that like this. So I have that natural curve. And it becomes more difficult when it's not that natural curvy curvy way. So again, just put a tiny bit there. And again, it's quite therapeutic. It's quite nice to work. And I'm trying to water this down a little bit, just so I've got a bit more control over that initial covering, so I can then go back and put a highlight if I want. So again, that's a bit too wet, that. But it's still nice to just gently stroke all this lovely colour in there. And really, this hydrus is so vibrant, you don't really need any special effects on it. It's just really nice and quick to work. I just felt that I might, in fact, I'm not going to do that now. I think I'll do that. I'm just going to carry on. And again, that goes a little bit thin there, so I might just be able to rectify that. So I wanted to work in here the other day, but I can come back and sort the little berry things out later. I'm just going to get all this green first to see. So this could be the boring bit that you want to fast forward if you're watching live, if you're watching a recording, because this is just a little bit monotonous. But because I'm working this way, there isn't any reason why I can't. In fact, I might do that. I might go back and sort this corner out. You think I'm going to start here? I think I will do that. I think, and then the reason I didn't do it at the beginning is sometimes you might want to kind of go through, so you get all the green in, and then you decide what colours you want to go where. But I think because I've done a couple more, I think I want these a normal green, and I want these turquoisey blue. I think I want those phthalo blue. So I can actually put these in. And this is a bit weak, a bit wishy-washy. But that means I can get, because I was going to put a highlight on them before. So we want really vibrant colours here. And there's some here as well. So we'll put those in. And I've touched some original just liquid, which is quite bright, so I think I might just put that in. So we've used phthalo green and phthalo blue. So we've got a poinsettia there, and we've got some more blue here. I'll put these in. about the patter of tiny feet. That's the old dog trying to get comfortable. Alfie's under the desk, asleep on my feet. And the lurchers in the bed in the kitchen, asleep too. So again, I quite like that bit of highlight natural I got. So we'll go back here. What am I going to do? They could be brown. I'm still working with the number 1 rigger because it's kind of helped me do all sorts of things. Oh, thanks, Scooby. Yes, I think it does. I think it does. What are we going to do with those? We could have those a more natural. I could use this green. So if you're not sure, it's always a good idea to put a piece of paper near. So we have that green. And then we have this darker green, which that's quite dramatic, isn't it? But I think I'd like that for the back of the poinsettias. So I think I'm going to have, and then I've got another green actually. I've made a phthalo colour. That's another colour. That's quite nice. But it's not real. I think I'm going to do the bluebells that colour. I think I'm going to do the pale green because there's a lot of that leaf about. And then the dark ones, very dark ones. So I quite like that one. I've got a lot of this colour. I'm not using very much particularly. So I'm just going to tease the colour into here. And if I don't like them, I can always I can darken them up. It's just giving them a little bit of colour. And you can go back and put highlights and lowlights and shadows and all sorts if you want. I just want to get an overall shape of things. And sometimes I go back, and sometimes I think, oh, I just like it as it is, so I don't go back. So under here, I've got some more of these greens. And there's just an odd pencil line still lying about, so I can get rid of those. Oh, I've splashed on there already. Silly me. Susanna says she's got a little pup curled up beside her, like a little burrito. Of course, your puppy's sitting this week, aren't you? You see, sometimes I just knock the brush and I go over the line, but never mind, it's fine. Just have to take my wool cardigan off because heating's kicking in now. So I'll go back to a damp brush is all we need really. So we need some nice, I think that's a nice, poinsettia red. Just have a look. Yes, I think that's quite nice. So I want some vibrant colours. This is what this is all about. This is all about vibrant colours. And there's not much highlights in this particular page because I think they're just going to be happy to be there. So again, we want bit of a solid colour there. And a solid colour there. So I'm thinking about bringing some of my own designs out that people can just download and colour in. Because I have a Victorian fireplace which I think would look quite nice. And then I think I might just colour those in that pale colour. You can always go back in there a bit later. So I look a little bit pinkier than they are. They're not really that different in pinks, but this is a bright. This is bright. Oh, hi Mountain Dreamer, welcome to Bunny's Designs. Anybody else I've missed? I'm working in the Johanna Basford Johanna's Christmas. And when I finish this little corner, I shall zoom out and show you what I've been doing. So I said I wanted these. Oh, that's that leaf. This leaf was going to be this one. Yeah. I've made kind of a richy green that I made last week. So I thought these would look quite nice. And I can always go back in and do a little bit of shadowing. I could steal some more off there. This is quite a big leaf actually. And it's quite nice just to stroke that colour in. And if you want to just put a little bit of a shadow in there, we can do that a bit later. And just got, in fact I'm going to swap brushes to a fine, my 3-0, just a hint of a stem. And a seed top, I think that's what that is. I'm going to leave that as a chain, so if I just, I've got a paintbrush, sorry about that. I just use this for a second. And if I just turn that round, oopsie, you can see what I've done. So that's the bit that I've drawn in. I made that bit up because the corners were a little bit, there was nothing in the corners. So I've put that bit into there and I've drawn in all 4 corners. So I'm just trying to slide this across. So all 4 corners are filled in with a mirror image on either side. So we've got the little bird to do next. And we've got a little bird to do next. Yeah, we'll do a little bird. I'm just going to see if I can get a highlight effect on there. Got to keep lifting the pages up. So I'll zoom back in a bit. And hopefully you can see the little bird. So I don't know if people like this, as it makes you a bit sick, zooming in and out. So I'm going to take this small brush, and I'm going to make it. My favourite colours at the moment are phthalo blue and phthalo green to make it a bit of a turquoisey colour. Bring back my trusty bit of paper and maybe a touch of water. And the colour I'm looking for is it green or is it blue? So that's kind of what I'm trying to aim for. I quite like that one. So I've got a damp brush and I'm going to do this one first because I'm at the wrong angle for the others. And so I just want a touch there. So if I touch this here and just stroke this all the way up, it should get paler and paler and paler. This is a real nice natural highlight all the way up this wing. So again, start down here and tease the colour out, because I do want this bird with a bit of highlight. Now actually I should have started in and worked out, but hey ho. That would have given me the proper highlight. So the tips of the wings are almost bare, but never mind. This isn't a realism. This is a colour book, and it's a Christmas colour book, so it can be as vivid or bright as I like. Not the moment to get a tickly elbow. So this is damp, wet, liquid watercolour on the end of a damp brush. And the lovely thing about this is they're not always identical. So sometimes they're a little bit greenier than they are blue, and sometimes they're bluer than they are greeny. So you can't really mess with it once you've done it. Hi Vicky, yes, welcome to Bonnie's Designs. Anybody else that I've missed? I'm playing in my Johanna's Christmas book because I thought I need to really do this while it's the run up to Christmas, because after Christmas I probably won't want to do it. Whereas of course all the other colour books we could do at any time of year. So that's my thought process. Just going to have to turn that around just a little bit because I just need to get a better angle on those two wings. So I can tease that colour through. You've got to be comfortable. You can't do it with your wrists screwed around the wrong way because it's not comfortable. And you can't stop once you start. You just have to keep teasing. And that damp brush does all the work for you. So there's no blending, there's no nothing. You just tease that colour through. That was a little bit too wet, that one. So I can do the tail feathers. And if I just touch a tiniest amount more blue, this probably won't work. I think I've got too much colour on here, but there we go. Yeah, we have too much colour. And then you really need to turn this around, so I'm not really sure how I can get to the birds. So I'm going to have to work the other way this time. No, I'm not. I like it like that. So just bear with me 2 seconds. I just have to play about. Oh no, I was in the right place. Sorry. Yep. Tips of the wings were brightest. Sorry about this. I've just got to manipulate this under here so that it's at a comfortable angle. So I need a damp brush. And this was that. Just tease that. So again, it's really quiet, peaceful way of working, which I really like. I think I've got enough. That I'm going to do this bottom one because I think I've got enough colour. Sometimes you can think that you have enough colour. But it's always a good idea to turn your book round so you're comfortable. Just darken that one up a little bit. So every time I've got a damp brush, tiny drop of colour right on the end, and just tease that up. And I'm going to do the next one as well because I like these. I love these teals and greens. Oh, hi Jennifer, welcome to Bunny's Designs. I don't really have a favourite. I have different ways of working. It's rather strange. I'm a bit of a lunatic when it comes to. I love professional watercolours, and I love these Hydrus ones. I don't have a fave. I kind of have different colours for different books. So I'm kind of a bit of an enigma when it comes to how I work. And I didn't know this until I started colouring in. But I like them because they go a long way and they're very vibrant. But I love I use Inktense pencils and Derwent watercolour pencils as watercolours. So I use lots of other things. So I've got a little bit of green on here, so I can either go from the back of the head to the front, which I think I might do. And just have a bit of a tipple on there. So very strange. I've found I'm doing different things in different books. And I love my daughter's chameleons, but I can't. They've gone because she's at uni, so I'm hoping I've just got a bit to kind of just take that there. So what do we think that is on the wing? I've no idea what that is on the wing. But, just do the tummy. These are quite nice for blending when they're dry. They blend a lot better when they're dry than they do when they're liquid. I don't normally use them as liquid, I use them as dry. I should have used a slightly bigger brush for that one. So I'll just colour these in. And just give that another little coating. This brush is too small for the tummy. I'm just going to colour this in, I don't know what it is. And it can get kind of paler and paler. and there's just enough to just take the edge off that one. So he's done now. I like watercolour pencils because you have a lot more control over them. But there's a lot of videos that I've made and other people have made, so I would just go watch lots of them and then choose which ones you think's easiest. I like this, but it took a long time to get to this stage of watercolouring. This is a watercolouring without a lot of water. And so I quite like these colours, it's working quite well. My drawing's not brilliant, but if I just zoom out a little bit. Hopefully I might get away with it. Hopefully I might, if I keep all these colours the same, you might not be able to tell that that's my drawing and that's Johanna's drawing. And that's my really, really bad curls. The near colour 2s are good as well. They're in my little book. I'll show you my little book very quickly. I'm always going on about my little book. So I've got the camera about 6 inches from the... So you'll have to bear with me. This is my little colour book. Oh, that's to go into the other one. Maybe that's there. There's near colour 2s, but the things with not near colour 2s, peerless. Peerless won't be much good for a lot of colour pages because they go through. For things that I Bible journal with the Derwent watercolour pencils, and I use them on paper palettes out my little book. I would say those, because you've got all the colours and you won't go through a Bible page. They don't show through. So the near colour 2s are gorgeous, but some of them show through. It depends how you use them, but the ink tens, the Derwent ink tens sometimes show through as well. They're all in this little book in squares. But the ones that never show through, and these ones that I use for my, these are what I use for, I'm going to lift this up a little bit so don't make it thick. Give me 2 seconds. I just have to hang that onto there because my laptop has a wander. Let me just find this one. Where's my Colin Thompson? Colin Thompson one. I only use. Shut that for a second. And I only use them from here. I don't use them as pencils. All this work and this are the Derwent watercolour pencils. Excuse me. 72 colours. And they're all used 6 palettes. There's 24 there, 24 there, and 24 there. And I love this way of working. So I've got all my yellows, I've got my oranges, and my reds and pinks, I've got my blues and my greens, and then earthy colours and the cool greys. And you can get wonderful watercolour effects from that. And you can't get that from anything else. So that's why in this particular book I always use my watercolour pencils. And the paper is quite thick. It's probably as thick as this. But I just love working with those. And it's very easy. It's fairly quick. There's no mess. And you have a teaspoon of water. So there's nothing to spill. And you get some really nice watercolour effects. You can get some really nice effects. So But I would have a play. Now I'm trying to get in Derwent to bring out something like this so people can have a play. But it's proving more difficult than I thought. But because I'd done this page in the Animorphia, I hadn't done many pages in Animorphia. I'd only done that one in watercolours. And they were the Cotman tubes. And then I've already had the Hydrus for a while. And I'd realised that I do a lot of professional watercolours. That was the first. That was professional, but the first one I did, which was with the Cotman colours, was the horse. And I love those colours. So, and they were 99p, and they were with 3 colours. There's a video about colour mixing, and there's 3 colours. There's 3 tubes of Cotman watercolours: cerulean blue, Elysian crimson, and lemon yellow. And I made a colour wheel of all my colours that I would need from those 3 tubes, and that's these. And then I bought some professional watercolours, and we did the bunny one, the vibrant colours. So I like those a lot. But again, they were kind of much of a muchness. Once I'd done one, I was kind of using them all the same way. So I had a play with the Hydrus, and I thought, well, I haven't played in this book before. And then I've just fell in love with these colours, which are not normally like me. But again, if you use them with the dry, you get some really nice watercolour effects. Bear with me 2 seconds. Although if you haven't, Scooby says, but the Colin Thompson one again is a lot thicker. The Colin Thompson paper is like the Johanna Basford. It's almost like card. I mean, you can hear the difference. But I know I can use these. I mean, there isn't any bleed through with the Hydrus, for Bible journaling as well. So if you want one set that does all the Derwent watercolours, because you get some gorgeous effects. Maybe 2 seconds. Oopsie. I stood up this morning and my kneecap decided it didn't like me. But in here, and you see it's dried straight away. I love that fact. It can work dry. I've done a few pages in here, and they're quite vibrant. I think they were the professional watercolours. They were the Derwents as a test to see that they didn't go through. Anything that's got a water-based mark on it, anything that's got a liquid brush mark on it, anything that's got that brush mark on it as a pencil, the little brush, that are aqua French, anything that has that, they should do quite well. And use them from a paper palette because you've got more control over the colours. But I wanted something that wouldn't even show much through very much at all. So my Derwent pencils kind of help me over across the board. And I'm going to do, this gentleman here is a professional watercolour artist. I think he lives in America now. David Cook. And he did the sketchbook squares here. So it belongs to Derwent, does this. This way of working belongs to Derwent. So but there's lots of ways of using your pencils as a professional artist, and they are beautiful colours. And they've got to be done for thinking. So, but use what you've got to start with. Use what you've got, and have a play about. That's the best thing to do, is to have a play. But I have to say, for versatility, I like my Derwent watercolour pencils. Oh, Suzanne says she's got a Gansai Tambi watercolours. Excuse me 2 seconds. Hello? What's it connection with? I'm really sorry, I can't speak at the moment. Strange phone call. Really strange phone call. Don't you love it? You must have a sign on your phone saying, look, I'm streaming, phone me now. Oh, Gansai Tambi watercolours are these. Now, I love these. These, again, are in my... I don't use them out of here. I'm just going to shut that up just in case I get something on it, because I'm terrible. And I do drop these an awful lot. These are the Gansai Tambi watercolours. But there isn't a lot of paint there. The only reason mine last is because mine are in my little book. Mine are in my little book. I've made some fat puddles of colour. So instead of taking this thing with me, I have this. And Gansai Tambi watercolour people have just brought out one of these, which is fine. So they've put them in little dribbles, but they've only got 12. I've got 36. I've got all mine in here. All my reds are here, all my greens. And as you can see, I use a fine brush. And I have this much control. I have 10 colours for each. When you use the colour out of this pan, you've got one colour. You have a brush loaded with a flat pan colour. I don't. I have 10 colours out of every 10 shades out of every colour, which is another reason. Same with the pencils. You know, that's why there's almost 600 colours in here. There's 600 little paper palettes, but there's 6,000 colours because each colour has got about 10 shades, from the palest to the darkest. It's about 10 shades. So you've got really, really golds to very pales. It's not coming up very well there, the oranges. And I can mix my pencils with my peerless. I can mix them with my Inktense. I've got Graphitint. I've got Caran d'Ache Colour 2s. And I just flick through colours. Because I can't hold anything, and I can't... Oh, I mean, you'd have to get all your Caran d'Ache out. You could not physically get all these different things out on a desk unless you had a round desk with a hole in the middle. And then you'd have to turn to get to them all, because there's... I think they're... I've forgotten what they're called now. I've got some gouache. I've got some peerless. I've got 36 Gansai Tambi watercolours. I've got 36 colours of pencils. I've got, but they didn't work very well because they're too chalky. But it was an experiment. They're Inktense blocks. They're the blocks from Faber-Castell, crayon blocks, but they're waterproof and they work. There's some Prismalo metallics. I've got some Derwent metallics. There's some Caran d'Ache Colour 2s. There's Prismalos, and they look a bit metallic-y as well. There's the Graphitint from Derwent, 24, 36 Inktense, 36 72 watercolours. And then I think there's 45 peerless. I got every set. It's 45 peerless. And then Inktense blocks are there, look, but they go a bit chalky, so I didn't use them. So I don't know what the other ones are. And then I have here a couple of millimetres of the pans, because I can't open the little pans of watercolours. Some are professional and some are just the little ones. If I can find it, I'll get it out. One of these. The Winsor Newton, there's a Cotman and there's another one. So I've taken them out because I can't always open this. Oh, I just can't open it. It hurts my hands. So I took them out of the pans and very carefully cut a couple of millimetres off the bottom. I stuck the top back in so it looks the same, but I have about 2 millimetres of pure colour there. And I have a plastic palette on this side made from old packaging, stiff cellophane, stiff plastic, clear. And so I can make any colour I want. So as much as I do love these colours, and they are professional, the thingies didn't work very well either. They crack. The gouache didn't last long. They crack. I've tried them on plastic and I've tried them on paper. But they are fab. But I have noticed a lot of people say they don't last long. Because there's only, you think there's tons in there, but if you look, there's only probably about 1 millimetre, maybe 2 millimetres of colour in there. Not, I mean, they could have filled the pans up. These pans are only half full. And then that's the bottom. So there's only like literally 1 millimetre coating on there. So they're gorgeous, but if you were doing a big project, they wouldn't last long. But they would last a long time if you were colouring in. Yes, Scooby. Yes, Scooby. It is my best friend. It is my best. It goes everywhere. And I did a giveaway when I get to, but it's hurt my hands. But when I get to 1,000, I'm doing another giveaway. Little book, and I've put in it. That's for the other one that I've made. There isn't as many colours because some of these were. This is made of my old book, which was kind of really chucked together with an old photo. Ooh, this is the other one. So it looks a lot neater, and I haven't. You see these paint chips off, so that should sit there. And I've got the plastic paper out somewhere. So I've put in the peerless, 40 odd colours of peerless, Caran d'Ache nail colour 2s. Oh, I did those. Oh, I've done those. I thought I did ask my daughter to do them because my hands hurt. They're the Graphy Tint, and you scribble about 4 layers, 3 or 4 layers, till it's saturated with colour. And because you're not using them too wet, you're using a fairly dry brush. And I've just put these in this. These are the 72 ink tense and the 72 Derwent. But I want Derwent to bring this out. And then I've just got space for one other. And that's going to Carol, because Carol won the giveaway. I think there's probably a half normal pan. Yes, I must admit the pans are doubled in size. But when you see them, you get excited thinking they're going to be full. And it doesn't bother me because I don't use them to big kind of things. I just use them for colouring in pages. But if you wanted to do lots of big landscapes, and that's why there's all the greens in there, then I've seen a lot of people do it, and then all of a sudden you get to the bottom, which you would in other ones if you use them. But do you like yours, Dorothy? Because I know Dorothy said about half pan size. Yeah, but they are professional watercolours, and they're gorgeous and creamy. They're gorgeous to use, I have to say. The only thing is I didn't want everybody to rush out and buy them, because if you're going to do big watercolours, they won't last as long. And I'm a tight Yorkshire lass. You see, I like these. I'm a bit obsessed with these because there's a lot of colour. There's a lot of colour in these Hydras. These are professional watercolours. And you can tone them down. You don't have to have them as bright. And that's why I have them in here. So instead of carrying 20 bottles around with me, I have them in 2 millimetres worth of papers. I've got them in twice because and that looks quite messy, but there's tons of colour on there. Tons of colour. In fact, the next Johanna Basford page I'm going to use them out of here, because this is where you get the watercolour effect from using them dry. It doesn't really work when you use them on a wet palette. But I do love all my watercolours, I have to say. But I mean, I've been drawing for, since I was 4, so that's 50 years. And I did my degree 5 years ago, my art degree, a bit slow, when I was 50. So I've been collecting art things for a long time, and most of them are birthday presents and Christmas presents. and I don't work, so I can't afford to go out and buy things. So when I buy something, I normally look a lot on YouTube. So I hope that clears that up. But best thing to do is do what I do. Have a look at, especially now, because they've been out a little bit of the Gansai Tambi watercolours. And people have used them for a good year. So again, you can see. But but there's a lot of videos out there, and the best thing to do is wait and see when things have been out a bit. I noticed that 1 or 2 people have said they didn't last long and they were disappointed. But for colouring a book, they're perfect. They are perfect. But the hydras, you can get pales and darks. I mean, even in that little bird, there must be at least 10 shades in there. So you don't have to use them that vibrant, and you can mix them. You know, it's a watercolour. And I think they're about £5. But there's half US fluid ounce, 15 ml. It's an awful lot of colour in there. And that's the one that I dropped, I think. So I've just put them in here. But I use them, if you want the watercolour effect, they're better to use from dry. So I've gone off on a tangent on my little book, like I normally do. So I'll show you what I did now, if I find my little tracing paper. So this was just in the middle here, with the birds, and there was all this space around. And so I decided that I would make my own little curls, and then I used Joanne's kind of things to make sure they looked the same and didn't look too out of place. So I hand drew these in. I ended up hand drawing a lot of it because I couldn't trace through. So I decided to do is that the top one? That's the top one. Then I put over there for that corner. I couldn't use the bottom one because it had an extra curl on it, and the curl was in the way of the bird. The curl was in the way of the bird. So I drew a different one, and then I just reversed that one. So I had 2 tops and reversed 2 bottoms. And then that's filled the whole page up. Well, I hope that's what we're here for. That's why you have to ask questions. Look, you see it wants to wander. We have a puppy cow under there. Puppy's been a shaved puppy. Shall we have a quick puppy cam? So the little boy is almost perfect now, is he under there? Alfie does. He's looking at me. Oh, he's coming for a snuggle. Hello, darling. So this is the Alfie. Hello, are you having a snooze? Disturbed him, didn't I? Did I disturb the boy? Did I disturb the boy? Fast asleep, weren't you? So Alfie's our little lucky mascot because he was hit by a lorry, followed by a car, and that was 3 weeks yesterday. So he's doing very well. And he ended up with, oops, I've got a bit of a, that might be slightly better. Good boy. He's acting normal. He's been playing with his ball yesterday. So he's back to normal. Don't go out there, go back to sleep. Come back under there. Good boy. So he loves, luckily he's only 2.5, but luckily he's a quiet boy. He just wants to sit about. So I'm going to stop that video and start another one, and we'll do the other side now. So that's made that page completely full, because a tight Yorkshire lass, I like a big full page. And it was a beautiful design, but I don't do backgrounds, so I thought, well, that's going to look odd. And this cream paper is beautiful to leave plain, especially with these vibrant colours. I quite like it. So because that happened in this book. I liked the backgrounds, so I decided, I don't need to do a background because these are vibrant enough. Oops, sorry, I got away now. And I can't do with faffing with backgrounds, but I thought that would actually stand itself. That's quite okay to leave it without a background. Yes, he's a lot better. He's back to his old self. He has a little mark on his hip. But considering he broke his pelvis in 2 places. So, I think when they're bright like that, I don't have to do a background. And anything that I don't have to do a background, it's all by me. And again, I think I got away with that one without a background. And these were vibrant enough, so it was quite nice to see how vibrant they are without without a background. I was woken everybody up now. So that's why I bought the Johanna Basford colour book, Christmas book, because I thought, wow, these are going to look so vibrant. So first of all, I had to play with the bauble. And I've got the watercolour effects, and that's what I've been playing with, trying to get this really, really nice watercolour effect. Alfie, can you come here, please? So I've got to keep him out of the kitchen. What's this? Come on. Alfie. No, it's ignoring me now. So I wanted to have a bit of a play with the colours. And I haven't decided what to do with him, so I've left it. But I've got a fairly nice watercolour effect on some of these. So, and then I went back to the pale colours, but this was I just wanted to have a play. And then of course went to the vibrant colours, and again I drew some little shapes not very well, but I realised that my rotary pen, the 0.25, is the exact, and it's got Indian ink in it, which is waterproof, is the exact size of the black lines. This is the Johanna Basford Johanna's Christmas. Excuse me. And so, as I say, I decided, I don't think I've done any others. Oh, I did. I didn't like the owl. I did the owl, but I wasn't happy, so I left his little white jumper. Excuse me, took a quick slurp. I think because I've moved the camera up, it's played havoc with the light. So I did that last week, and then again here, I'll probably put something here because I don't like the space. And maybe put a little clock here somewhere. And it's really nice to draw on this paper as well. Oh, excuse me. So I just stopped that recording. So that's as far as we've got this morning. Oh, goodness me. So thank you for watching.